Becoming an Amazon seller isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey, and I want to teach you everything that you need to know to begin selling products on Amazon. My name is Josh, and I've been selling on Amazon for the past 5 years. I've used my e-commerce store to pay off my debts from college, and it has also helped me quit my job back in 2021. I have been featured on CNBC's Make It series, personally taught over 500 students how to sell on Amazon, and I still actively sell today. Now that we've covered the introduction, let's discuss business models. You need to choose your business model before doing anything else so you have a clear and decisive strategy going into this journey. These are the 4 most common business models for Amazon sellers. Private labeling is when you create a trademark brand name and apply it to a manufactured product. Wholesaling is when you resell an existing branded product that you purchase at a wholesale rate. Think of branded products like Purell hand sanitizers. What you would do for a wholesale product like this is you'd go directly to the manufacturer, you'd purchase it at a wholesale rate, and then you go ahead and resell it on Amazon at the market value. Retail arbitrage is where you'll find discounted products at brick and mortar stores and resell them at market value on Amazon. Online arbitrage, on the other hand, is nearly identical as retail arbitrage, except you'll purchase discounted products online versus physically in person at stores. Out of these 4 business models, I would recommend going with private labeling as the #1 business model for beginners because it gives you the best opportunity to create a consistent income stream, as well as it has the highest margins out of any of these business models. Next, let's go ahead and choose our selling plan. I'm going to show you a way that you can save $40 to at least $80 by doing this one trick. So there are 2 selling plans on Amazon, the individual and the professional selling plan types here in the United States. Now here's where they differ. For individual sellers, you will pay 99 cents for each sale that you make. So you only pay when you make a sale. For professional sellers, you will pay a membership fee, which is a fixed rate each and every month of $39.99. What makes the professional selling plan type so attractive is that it offers you an opportunity to use Amazon pay-per-click advertising, which we'll get into later, gives you access to unique selling features as well as global selling programs and much, much more. However, I do not want you to start as a professional seller because you're going to be wasting over $39.99 from the start, since it will take you at least 2 to 3 months before you can actually begin selling a product. This is because the lead time to procure your product usually takes 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how you ship them to the United States. With that being said, let's go ahead and let me show you how you can actually save this money from the start versus falling into the trap that honestly Amazon has set up for you. If you go to the sign up page on Amazon, you'll notice that there's only one sign up option which says $39.99 a month plus selling fees. So what's happening here is Amazon is only giving you one option to sign up, and that's for the professional selling plan type with the $39.99 price tag per month. What they're not telling you is that there's actually a better plan, and that is the individual selling plan type, which I'm about to show you. Here's how to sign up for the individual plan. Navigate to sell.amazon.com/pricing and scroll down until you see the 2 sign up buttons shown here. Click sign up for individual and you won't pay Amazon anything until you begin selling. The good news is that you can upgrade your selling plan type at any point of the month or throughout the year, so it's not a big deal that we sign up as the individual because we can always go ahead and upgrade when we're ready. The ideal time to upgrade to the professional selling plan type is whenever you want to use Amazon pay-per-click advertising and/or you are selling more than 40 units each and every month. The reason why I say 40 units is because with the individual plan, you pay 99 cents per sale. If you sell more than 40 units in a month, then it's actually cheaper to go with the fixed rate professional plan versus the individual. So your indicator to upgrade is when one of these 2 events occur. All right, so after clicking sign up for individual, you'll need to log into your existing Amazon account or you'll have to go ahead and create a new one. The good news is that you only need your personal information and a valid email address in order to create an Amazon account. However, we're not done yet. From there, you need to set up your Seller Central account and provide important personal and business information. Here's a list of what you actually need in order to create your account. The last step in opening up your account is to verify it. Amazon may send you a link where you can host a web call with an Amazon representative to verify your identity. And what this really entails is you just showing your driver's license along with your identity and also some other personal information. Now, if this doesn't happen to you, at a minimum, Amazon will send you a postcard in the mail to go ahead and to verify your address. That postcard is going to have a code on it that you type in on Amazon Seller Central, and then once you do that, you're ready to begin selling. After validating your account, you can now log into Seller Central, which is our next topic to discuss. So you've heard me talk about this Seller Central. Amazon Seller Central is the seller interface which allows you to manage orders, view your inventory, view payments, and so much more that really enables you to be a seller on Amazon. Now I could make an entire video 20 minutes long on all the different reports and the dashboards and everything that you can do using Amazon Seller Central, but for this video, I'm just going to focus on a few key items so you know where they're at and what they're going to be used for. So this is your main user interface where you'll find important metrics like today's sales, units sold, and access to the main menu. Here's the main menu for a professional seller account. To list products, go to Catalog and add products. This applies to both existing products and new ones. Inventory is where you'll monitor your inventory and listings. You can change the price of your listing, edit it, or send in inventory through this page. Orders is where you'll view your existing and completed orders, and advertising is where you'll go to set up coupons, promotions, or Amazon pay-per-click, which we'll get into in a second. The last part I want to highlight is the gear icon or settings in the upper right-hand corner. Here's where you can view important account settings like your seller plan, tax info, bank account info, and much more. Also, make sure to download the Seller Central app from the App Store to manage your store on the go. I would just recommend performing most of your tasks like editing your listing on the computer since it's easier to view and manage things. All right, we have our account set up and we're ready to begin selling. But before we go ahead and do that, we need to understand how we will be fulfilling our orders. And there's two different ways. The first method is Merchant Fulfilled Network or MFN. This was previously known as Fulfillment by Merchant or FBM, but now it's MFN. Now this fulfillment method is where you are responsible for fulfilling each order. When I say fulfilling, I mean packaging the product up and shipping it to the customer who places an order. Now with this FBM MFN method, you are the one who will be packaging and storing all of your products. You'll receive the orders through Seller Central, and then you'll ship those items to the customers through USPS, FedEx, UPS, or whatever your preferred carrier is. This method is for those sellers who do not expect a lot of sales early on or can manage the order and packaging process. It's also for established companies that have efficient fulfillment processes. Now the second method, which I recommend using for just about any independent seller like myself, that is Fulfillment by Amazon or FBA. This is where you will ship your products to Amazon, they'll store the products for you, and then when orders come in, they'll actually go ahead, take your products out of storage, package them, and ship them to the customer. It totally eliminates you from the fulfillment process, which is by far the most tedious part of becoming an Amazon seller. Now there is a catch. Amazon will charge an FBA fee which ranges between $4 to $9 per sale for most standard sized products. Once you've made your selection on which fulfillment method is best for you, keep that in mind because we're going to be using it later on. All right, here comes the fun part, product research. You're probably clueless on what products you want to sell on Amazon, and to be honest, that's perfectly fine. Just as a new pizza restaurant will research competition in its area, and if there's demand for their pizza, we as an e-commerce seller need to do the exact same thing with our potential future product. We will be focusing on products that are not saturated, meaning that the amount of competition and the amount of existing sellers selling a very similar product is not overwhelming, and we're also looking for products that are in demand by consumers. So how do we do all this? To do this, I recommend using Jungle Scout to find these products. There are other alternative software available, but I find this to be the most reliable and easy to use out of all of them. I'll link a video in the cards now on how you can find these products and how to apply a very specific product research strategy in order to find these in-demand niches. Check that out after you watch this video in full and understand the complete process. After finding these product ideas, we need to go ahead and to vet some of them by looking at the margins for each one of these specific niches. Otherwise, what is the point of selling on Amazon if we're going to sell a product and not profit at the end of the day? Your profit margin is a percentage of revenue that you will keep. So a profit margin of 20% for a $10 product would be $2 of profit per sale. For Amazon sellers, our goal is to achieve a minimum of a 35% gross profit margin, and that means we would profit $3.50 for every $10 that we bring in. To calculate this, we need a few things at our disposal. One, we need a margin calculator, which we're about to cover here in a second. We need the cost of goods sold, which is how much it costs to make that product and to have it shipped to its final storage location. And then we also need to know the product's dimensions and the product's weight. I recommend using an app that I actually built called SellerBuddy, which is a free margin calculator that you can use, as well as much more. This app will take your product specifications and use that information to determine your referral, storage, and FBA fee as well. There are three main fees that Amazon is going to charge you. The first fee is the referral fee, which is typically 15% of the sales price, and that's just for using Amazon's platform. The second one is if you're using FBA services, there's an FBA fee. This is the cost that Amazon charges you per sale to go ahead and to fulfill that order to the customer. And the last fee is the storage fee. As the name suggests, it's just a fee for storing your products at their fulfillment centers. So go ahead and type in your product specifications to see what your margin will be. If it's above 35%, awesome. If not, I would recommend looking at another supplier's page or renegotiating to lower the unit cost. It's important that we do this before we actually place our order or even before we get a firm quote from our supplier. After we find our supplier and we begin sourcing the product from them, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this calculation one more time with the firm numbers. By doing this process before we get into actually purchasing anything, we can weed out a lot of the potential product ideas that aren't attractive from a profiting standpoint. Now let's talk about the importance of branding and why you should do it. Branding is when you take a trademark name, you place it on your product, and you begin selling that branded product on Amazon. So there are three options when it comes to listing your product and brand names. First, you can sell generically, meaning there is no brand name. You'll be able to create your listing and have complete control over it. In some scenarios, Amazon may merge your generic product with another listing if there's an identical generic product already on the market. Now, I'll be honest with you, when you sell a generic product, it's going to be an uphill battle. Customers will not trust your product listing, and you'll have to sell your product for much less compared to your competitors. Now, the second option is to brand this product and to create your own listing. This will give you the best opportunity to succeed as an Amazon seller by branding your product, and it'll also give you complete control of your listing, the listing process, as well as it will allow you to actually build that customer trust, which is so important. Now keep in mind that this is a little bit more expensive versus not branding or doing the third option, which we're about to talk about now. The third option is to sell on an existing listing. This is for those wholesalers out there. As long as your product is identical in shape and size and it's the same exact product, there's no reason why you can't list that product on an existing listing with their approval. The downside is that you won't have any control over that specific listing. The owner has complete control over everything, such as content, images, the description, and so forth. Just to quickly summarize, you only need to brand your product if you are private labeling. If you're wholesaling or if you're selling a generic product, you don't have to worry about this at all. You can go ahead and list that product whenever you see fit. For anyone who is not private labeling, you can skip ahead in this video to this timestamp now so you can skip the branding process that we're going to be talking about now. For those private labelers, let's discuss how the branding process works. Amazon requires you to file a trademark application for your brand name with the USPTO prior to applying for brand registry on Amazon. For US residents, you can go ahead and follow my tutorial that's in the cards now. That way you can do this application on your own and save a lot of money. For non-US residents, it's a little bit more difficult. You have to go ahead and you have to hire an attorney that's based in the United States to complete this application for you. I recommend using Amazon's IP Accelerator program for those non-US residents who are looking for an attorney to do this for you. US-based residents can also use this program if they wish, but it would be a more expensive option. After trademarking your brand name, you're not done yet. You have to make sure that your brand name actually meets or exceeds Amazon's brand registry requirements. Now, this will come later on when you begin working with your supplier, but just keep in mind that you must place your trademarked brand name on the packaging or product permanently. This cannot be a sticker that you place on your product or your packaging. This has to be a permanent tag or a permanent laser etching into your product. For smaller products, I recommend placing your brand name on your packaging, and for larger products, place it on the product discreetly. At this point, you're eligible to apply for brand registry. It may seem like we're putting the cart before the horse because we're already talking about branding, we're talking about estimating fees, and we haven't even sourced our product from our supplier. Now you have to trust me on this one. This is the correct method and the correct process of doing this because we need a plan before we go ahead and to reach out to a supplier. We want to make sure that everything's in alignment and it's going to meet or exceed a lot of these requirements that you need to have as an Amazon seller. So let's cover that process now of reaching out to suppliers and to actually source the product. I recommend searching for products on Alibaba.com for overseas suppliers or Wholesale Central for US-based suppliers. Make sure to review the supplier's credentials prior to reaching out to them. Alibaba makes things easy for you by awarding some suppliers certain badges. If a supplier has a verified blue badge, then they have been independently inspected and are deemed to be more credible than ones without it. Now let's take a second and talk about product design. It's imperative that you differentiate your product. What I mean by differentiating, an option would be to change the color of the product from your existing competition, or it could be as simple as solving the problem for your customer quicker than any of your other competitors. Trust me on this, you will not be successful if you resell the exact same product as someone else on Amazon, because this only leads to price wars with the other sellers of the same product. It's a losing man's game, so make sure that you differentiate your product in some shape or fashion. Lastly, let's talk about packaging, because that's something that beginner sellers often overlook. Remember when I told you about the storage fees? Yeah, so those can really stack up, and Amazon will charge you a fixed rate to store your products at their fulfillment centers based on the fulfillment of your product. So it should come to you as no surprise that Amazon will charge you a fixed rate to store your products at their fulfillment centers based on the footprint or size of your product. The smaller that your product is, the less you're going to pay in storage fees as well as FBA fees. So make sure you minimize your packaging to the best of your ability. Think about vacuum sealing your product or disassemble your product at the manufacturer and have the customer actually assemble it. That way you can have a smaller footprint at Amazon in their fulfillment centers. You pay less in storage fees, and you also pay less in FBA fees, which is only going to boost your profit margin. A question you may have now is, how many units should I start out with? So always make your investment decisions based on your personal circumstances and understand that returns are never guaranteed. With that being said, most beginners start out with at least $1,000, if not $2,000, on their first order, or around 200 units. There's absolutely no reason why you should start out with thousands of units for a new product, because it's only going to lead to excessive storage fees and it's going to increase your financial risk. If you have to purchase more than 200 units because of the supplier's minimum order quantity, or MOQ, ship a portion to your house or your business. Or the other thing you could do is you could also ask your supplier to delay ship a portion of the units every month or two. Next, let's pretend that your product has been manufactured and it's ready to be shipped. You need to make sure that your supplier set up everything correctly as far as labeling, as far as the address that it's going to, because this can really lead to a lot of failures for Amazon sellers. Make sure to familiarize yourself with the shipping Incoterms before placing your order with the supplier. The two most common type of shipping Incoterms are EXW, which is Ex Works, or DDP, which is Delivered Duty Paid. Ex Works is where the supplier will hold zero liability for the products after it has been picked up by the carrier. That means you and the carrier are responsible for getting the products from the supplier's location to the final storage location, which is probably going to be Amazon. And if anything happens in between there, it's you and the carrier at fault. DDP, on the other hand, is where the supplier will hold responsibility of the products until they arrive at the final storage location, such as Amazon. For beginners, I only recommend DDP shipping Incoterms, even though it is slightly more expensive. And the main reason why I do suggest this and recommend it is because you don't have to worry about paying the custom or import fees to the United States. The carrier or supplier will handle that for you. And it also just makes things much, much easier that you have no liability or responsibility for getting the products to Amazon. Your supplier and the carrier will. Now, as far as how to do this all in Seller Central and what labels you need to put on the products and the packaging, I have plenty of tutorials on how to ship directly to your house or from China to Amazon. So make sure to check out those videos independently from this one. All right, on to our product listing. So the product listing is the detail page where you have your bullet points, your image, your sales price, and it's really just the location that someone can purchase your product on Amazon. Now, I just want to cover a couple of key items to include when creating your listing. So creating your listing content, like your title, bullet points, and product description, can be tedious and time consuming, as I bet you can imagine. So to save time, I would pull out sellerbuddy and I'd use the AI feature to do all of this for you. Simply tell it what your product is and some important information about that product. Within a few seconds, you should have all of your listing content ready to go. Barcodes are another common topic that a lot of beginners tend to get confused about. I'm going to make this very simple for you, and for two different types of sellers, which option is going to be best for you. So option one, if you're going to sell on other platforms such as eBay or Etsy, then I would recommend purchasing a barcode from GS1 using the link in the description. This should only cost you $30 per barcode. Option two is if you're going to sell this product only on Amazon. If that's the case, then there's no need to purchase a barcode and simply click that this item does not have a product ID. Next are the images, and I recommend at least 6 images and a maximum of 9. Now, images are so important because over 75% of buyers say that they make their buying decision based on images alone. So as you can tell, we need to put a lot of effort into these. Now, if you'll only go with 6 images, I recommend breaking them up as follows. One should be your main photo or the one with the white background. 2 to 3 should be lifestyle photos showing your product in use, and the final 2 to 3 should include infographics highlighting your main selling points. Now, when it comes to figuring out how much you should sell your product for, I recommend doing one thing, and that is using Jungle Scout's price history. Simply go to the opportunity finder, enter in your product niche and name into the include keyword section, and click submit. From there, find your niche and go to the sales price history. I would take the average price over the past 3 months and mark mine about 10 to 25% below that value. Remember, we're going to have 0 reviews when we list our product on Amazon, so the credibility is not going to be there. So what we have to do in order to capture a lot of sales is to create a price-based incentive that marks our product about 10 to 25% below the nearest competitor. Later on, we can always go ahead and we can increase our sales price up to the fair market value once we have a couple of reviews. Lastly, if you're branding your product, then consider adding A+ content or enhanced content to your listing. This is located in the product description and allows you to add images, diagrams, charts, and even videos to elaborate even more on your products. If you look at the vast majority of successful products on Amazon, I will guarantee that all of those branded products have A+ content. All right, we are on to our final 2 topics here, and that's about the professional selling plan type, when do we upgrade to it, and also Amazon pay-per-click advertising. So let's jump back to the discussion we had earlier about selling plans. In order to advertise, you need the professional selling plan type, which is $39.99 a month, right? At this moment, this is the perfect time to upgrade your membership because you are now either selling more than 40 units or you're ready to begin advertising. To do this, go to your settings, account info, click manage next to services, and upgrade from there. Now you can advertise your product and hopefully save some money if you're selling more than 40 units a month. Amazon pay-per-click or PPC advertising is Amazon's integrated advertising platform that allows you to artificially place your detail page in your listing in front of millions and millions of customers. When you see listings on the top of the search results marked sponsored, shown here, that means they're using Amazon pay-per-click advertising. The same thing goes when you're on a listing and you see other listings below the bullet points. With PPC, you only pay whenever a customer clicks your advertisement, hence the name pay-per-click. This is a topic that I've covered extensively in the video I'm placing in the end screen now, so make sure to check out that strategy to efficiently advertise from launch.